Why is Boxy Boo missing from chapter 4, and when will we finally see him? Is a question that's on everyone's mind. But before we dive into the mystery, let's take a moment to recap on who Boxy really is. He's one of Poppy Playtime's most intriguing characters, yet despite his importance, he is yet to make an appearance in any chapter. Instead, the only way to see him in action is by playing the game Project Playtime, and this just doesn't add up, especially considering the major role Boxy played in the Bigger Bodies initiative. But first, let me explain why. As we know, Boxy was the first successful Bigger Body to have been created, as said by Dr. Harley Sawyer himself.
And here you are. They said it was impossible, yet you defied all odds. The first of many, naturally. You have proven my Bigger Bodies initiative a success. Many doors have opened today, thanks to you. Now, we need to start tailoring that appetite of yours to flesh.
Its creation's very existence opened up countless new possibilities for Playtime Co. and the initiative. This perhaps even opened up life-extending properties as seen with the other toys around Playcare. But with that, Harley Sawyer decided to tune Boxy's appetite to human flesh. And this is seen with the case of Rowan Stoll, who an employee learns of the Bigger Bodies initiative. Now this was the first case of us seeing Boxy in action. And as we know, he would be used to handle more situations where low-end employees found out about the initiative. But if not turned into a snack, they themselves would be turned into a toy. But that's a story for another day. Now this takes us to chapter 3, where we learn more about the Hour of Joy and the role Boxy played, where he takes out a few employees and takes off down a hallway. One thing to know about this hallway is that it looks to be some form of backroom or storage area for the lab workers as seen by the workers' codes. Now this is something we will take into account later, and many have assumed that he went underground with the rest of the toys and died of starvation just to become part of the prototype. But Boxy is a killer, and so I doubt he would go down in such an anticlimactic way. And so this begs the question, what has he been doing and where is he? Well, before we try to answer this, it's important to know one specific detail about Boxy and his hostility towards other toys. And this is mainly Experiment 1199 or Braun. When Braun was introduced to the other experiments, they were all hesitant to accept him. It was as if they knew Braun wasn't an orphan, but more specifically an ex-employee. And it's moments later when Braun is actually attacked by Boxy, and we actually know this because we can hear Boxy's jingle just before Braun is attacked. Meaning Boxy knew Braun was a previous Playtime Co-employee, and this comes as no surprise, as this is what Boxy has been trained to do. Now this takes us to the main question, where is Boxy and why hasn't he made an appearance yet? Now perhaps Playtime Co realized that it was too dangerous to keep Boxy with the others, so they gave him his own role and his own area. And this would make sense, as in the VHS tape leading up to Rowan Stoll's death, we see him walking down a flight of stairs before entering what seems to be a storage area. Now I could be wrong, this could also be a security room where Boxy devours him in just one bite. And this VHS tape shows exactly just how fast Boxy is, as within 2 frames Rowan is gone. And if we compare the Hour of Joy tape to this, we also see what seems to be a long hallway, with what seems to be a door on the left or some form of room. But one thing to note from all of this is that at the end of chapter 3, we do hear Poppy say that all the toys drag bodies underground, where they ate the bodies to stay alive.
All that death didn't fix anything. And then, once it was all over, they dragged those corpses down below where they'd never be found. And they ate the bodies to stay alive.
Therefore, it's safe to assume that Boxy and a few of the other toys never made it to the upper levels, as we know a side character called Riley, who would hide the train keys hoping that her sacrifice would mean something. So unless there is another way up, which is unlikely, means that Boxy and a few of the others stayed in the underground areas of the facility, and this would make sense as kids tend to stay near comfort zones, and underground is all Boxy has ever known. Now we know he is somewhere down here. In addition, as we are descending down the elevator with Poppy, she starts to explain something. And what is that something?
Alright, once we hit the ground, we need to be cautious. There's something... What's she doing? No! We're coming! Just hold on!
Well, we already know the prototype is down here, meaning what Poppy was going to explain to us wasn't that it's the prototype. Now, it could have been that Poppy was going to explain that Yarnaby is down here. But seeing how easily we defeat Yarnaby, it just seems unlikely, and so that only leaves us with the Doctor and Boxy. And for the Doctor, he has been watching since the start, and it's likely Poppy would have known this. And so that does leave Boxy as our main contender, but we don't see him in the prison, and it was highly theorized by myself and many others that he would be a guard of some form, as throughout the Chapter 4 trailers, he is hinted at quite a lot. This is from anything from color coding from the trailers, like the square boxes that make up the same colors as Boxy, to artwork that was published on the mob account that is again the same exact colors of what Boxy is. It would make a lot of sense, as any unwanted employee who found out too much would just be sent down to the prison for Boxy to deal with. And as we know, Boxy sadly doesn't make an appearance in Chapter 4. Now this does lead us to wonder something else. Could Boxy be somewhere in the labs, or maybe even deeper? With Leaf Pierre hinting to the fact he keeps the Doctor alive instead of letting Boxy have his way.
Kind of mistake you just made. Really? From where I'm sitting, you're the one who keeps making mistakes that need fixing. We gave you so many opportunities to clean up your own messes, but you just couldn't do it, could you? What? You think you can do better? Nobody else can do what I do. You need my knowledge, my intellect. Why do you think you're sitting in there right now and not in Boxy's stomach?
Now this does prove one thing, that Boxy is a character that the player will face off against. Maybe not as a main villain, but he will appear, and whether we will see him in Chapter 5 is another question on its own. And well, it's possible that the prototype is using Boxy for a personal bodyguard. It's also believed that throughout Chapter 4, you can hear Boxy's jingle very faintly in certain parts of the game. This is only theorized though, as I cannot prove it myself, as I have not heard it yet. It is also believed that the footsteps we hear at the end of the game are a mix between the prototypes and Boxy's. Now again, this is only a theory and there is not a lot of evidence to back this. But on that note, now that that's over, I want to hear from you. Do you buy the theory that Boxy Boo is guarding the prototype deep in the labs, or you have another idea about his mysterious absence? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and be sure to join the discussion on our Discord.